In this lesson, we are going to create a WinCC Unified faceplate and utilize the Property Interface tab. Faceplates in WinCC Unified are custom objects that you can build out of standard objects and then expose properties and events and manage them in a central library. There are two ways that you can go about starting to create a faceplate. The first way is by going into the Libraries tab, and under the project library, you would have the types expanded out, and then you would select Add New Type. When the Add New Type dialog box is displayed, you'd have to select the type that you would want to add, and I want to pick a faceplate because I want to create a unified faceplate. Then you would need to give your faceplate a name and then select the target runtime platform for your faceplate. So we're doing WinCC Unified, so I would select the option for Unified. There is also a lowest device version setting that you can set. This would be the lowest device version for your panel that would be supported by this particular faceplate. So actually I'm going to hit cancel and show you another way to create faceplates. I'm going to open up a screen that I have called FP Property Interface. And then on this screen, I want to create a pump faceplate. To do that, I'm going to use some basic objects. So I'm going to take a rectangle object and draw that out onto the screen. And then I'm going to take a circle object and bring that out onto the screen. And then I'll just resize the circle here a little bit. Move that circle over. And so now I've just created a basic looking pump. So what I'm going to do is select the objects that I want to include in my faceplate. And when I do that, I can then right click on them and select Create Faceplate. This will open up the faceplate editor. There will be a yellow banner across the top. This banner has links where it allows you to release your version. So when you're done making your changes, you can release them for use. Or if you're not pleased with the changes that you've made, you have an option to discard the changes and delete that version. For right now, I'm going to hide this banner. I can always get that banner back by clicking on the yellow exclamation point and then close it, etc. There are multiple tabs in the faceplate editor for configuring various aspects of your faceplate. In this lesson, we're going to cover the Property Interface tab. The Property Interface tab is where you can enter in properties that you want to change inside the faceplate. So the first one that I'm going to enter in here is I'm going to create one called Back Color. And then the data type is going to be color because I want to be able to change the background color of objects inside of my faceplate. The next faceplate property that I'm going to create is one that is going to be called Border Color. And that will also be of the data type color. I'm going to enter in one more property, and this one is actually going to be called Border Width. But this time for the data type, instead of being color, I want to select from one of the different data types that are available. So I am going to pick an unsigned long integer. Okay, so that I can pass in a numeric value and change the border width of the objects within my screen. Next, I'm going to go to the Visualization tab, and I want to utilize the properties that were created in that Property Interface tab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my circle, and I'm going to select the rectangle. And then what I'm going to do is go down into the Properties area, and under Appearance, I want to change the background color. So under the Dynamization color, I'll select the drop down here, and I'm going to select Property Interface. Then what I can do is select the property from the Property Interface that I want to use to alter the background colors. So I'm going to select Back Color. Then I will also select the Border Color property, go into the Dynamization area here, select Property Interface, and this time I will select Border Color. I am assigning property interfaces to these properties so that they can be changed via the faceplate. The next one that I want to change is I want to go down to the Border Width property. When I select the Border Width property, I can select Property Interface, and this time when I look at my properties, I can select the Border Width. So if I look on the individual objects, I would be able to see the individual properties that were set. So once I'm satisfied with my changes, I will bring that yellow banner back, and I'm going to select Release the Version. I'm going to give my faceplate a name. So I'm going to give it the name FP_pump props. Under the options area, there is a checkbox here that is selected that says delete unused type versions, in the library. So basically I want to delete all previous, versions, and so I'm only going to keep the most recent changes of my faceplate. So in the library over here, you can actually see I do now have a faceplate that is called FP_pump props. Now the objects that were on my screen that I used to create my faceplate, they're not a faceplate at this point in time. So I'm just going to delete these objects. And then what I'm going to do is actually bring in instance of the faceplate. So I'm going to bring that into the screen. And then with the faceplates, under the miscellaneous category, there is something that is called interface. Under the interface, this is where you will see the properties that you created on that property interface tab. So I can change, my background color, border color, and also set the border width. So for the first faceplate here, I'm going to select the yellow color. And I will leave the border color as blue. And for my border width, I'm going to select 3. You will not see these changes in development, but during runtime you will see these changes take place. So I'm going to take another instance of this same faceplate and bring it out onto the screen. I'm going to go into the miscellaneous area, go down to interface, and change the colors. This time I'll set the border color to be yellow. I'll do the opposite colors. And I'll make the border width be a little bit bigger. So instead of 3, I'll use 6 this time. So now that I've brought in 2 instances of the faceplate and configured it, I'm going to start my runtime. Starting with TI Portal version 19, we have one-click simulation. So to actually load our project into simulation and open up the web browser so we can start viewing our screens. So I will go to my property interface screen, and then I would be able to see those faceplates during runtime with the colors and border widths that I set. So now I'm going to make a small change to the faceplate so you can see that how they are centrally managed in the library. So if I select one of the faceplates, doesn't matter which one I pick, I can right click on it and I can select Go to Library Version, and then that will actually select the version over in the project library. Then I can right click on whichever version I would like to edit, and I can select Edit Type. So when you are editing, you'll actually be in the in-work version. So version 0.0.1 was my first release, and now I'm in work. So if I were to release this version, this would be the version that I would be using. So I'm just going to select this circle. I'm going to go down to the properties. And then under Appearance, I'm just going to make a small change. So for the background fill pattern, instead of it being solid for the circle, I'm going to select the drop down and I'll pick a vertical gradient. Once I'm satisfied with my changes, I can either click on the yellow up here and select Release Version, or I can go into the project library to my in-work version, right click on it and select Release Version. Now, this time I get presented with options to update the instances in the project and delete unused types. If I don't select Update here, I will just have the updated version in the project library, but those changes will not be included in my actual application. So what I'm going to do is select Update instances in the project. So now anywhere where this faceplate is being used, it's going to be utilizing the most recent version. If I keep delete unused type versions checked here, that will delete any versions that are not used in the project. If I uncheck it, I can keep multiple versions of that faceplate in my project. In this case, I'm going to leave it checked and select OK. And then I will start my simulation again. I will go to my property interface screen, and now during runtime you can see that both faceplates were updated with that gradient change. So I only had to change it in that one place, and they were applied throughout all uses in the project. So in this lesson we covered creating a basic faceplate and utilizing the property interface tab.